Profiles of the Bearcats, another segment where we take you behind the scenes with some audio interviews of players and staff members of Bearcat Hoop 2017-18 and give you some question and answer segments that they did with Coach Kip, discussing their background, their histories, and where they see the season going. Enjoy. Today's 10 Minutes with a Bearcat brings you fourth-year assistant coach Jonathan Willis. Coach Willis will talk to you about his road to Willamette, which is a pretty unique story, his read the room philosophy that applies to not only coaching but the business world, and also how to follow him on social media. Coach Jonathan Willis. Coach Willis, let's start with you. Give us a little bit of background on yourself, where you're from, born and raised, playing career, coaching career. Introduce yourself in your elevator speech that I know you're good at because you're a great recruiter to the audience today.
I'm Coach Jonathan Willis, native of Jacksonville, Florida. I played undergraduate at University of South Florida, 7 years as a high school coach, and 4 years as a college coach. Elevator speech would be as followed. Greatness takes place when preparation meets the opportunity. I'm prepared, you have the opportunity, so let's be great together.
Go ahead, tell me professionally, moments that you had to cross the stream. There's one, two, ones that you can share with the audience out there that you think have really helped define you and push you forward.
I think the first one for me would be my decision to save all of my vacation days and take $200 per paycheck and put it to the side to make a trip to Dallas. I did not know I was going to meet you at that particular time, but I saved some money. I saved all my vacation days and put them all together with the mindset of I was going to find a job.
And it's not like you didn't have a job. You were fully employed, had your own program.
Yes, I was a varsity head coach. I was assistant athletic director, and I was department chair for the social studies department. So I did not have a bad life at the time. But I think there are people who are visionaries. So I think when you see yourself doing something, then I think you have to then act upon it. I think those are dream chasers. So that was the first time that I really had that type of moment.
And then going further into that, so you go to the NABC convention in Dallas. I'm there just as a head coach trying to get smarter because we didn't win enough games. And were we on the bus? Were we in the lobby? I think we were on the bus.
Well, at first, we first met. The first time we met was during the Cincinnati defensive presentation.
Yeah, Mick
Cronin's presentation, and I think that was at 8 a.m. That was an early one, and
yes.
I was there in a shirt and tie.
Yes, you were, and that stood out.
That's right.
Because most other people, if you haven't been to the NABC convention, the 8 a.m. clinic, unless it's a big name, most people are too hungover to get to that clinic. And if they do come in, they're wearing a Starbucks coffee and some sweats because the night before was a little wild. And the only reason I wasn't in that same boat is I was with my dad, who can have a beverage, but he wanted to go to bed. So I got up early enough, and there you were.
Right. I was there, and that is where we met. And I had my resumes printed off.
Yes,
I had
you
them
did.
in my bag, and I actually left them covering my seat when I finally spoke to you. I was standing in line waiting to get a muffin.
I think the line was, Coach, you think your kids can do any of that stuff he just said? Because mine can't.
My kids were not smart enough. So
right.
We had something in common right away. And then you ended up asking me something I ran against Zone.
Yep.
And ended up diagramming stuff with sugar packets,
yep,
and salt and pepper shakers. And we just hung out on the bus, and then we ended up talking later that night in the IHOP.
Yeah.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I definitely think that preparation, being able to see yourself walking in that vision of becoming a college coach and then being prepared for whatever opportunity presented itself, whenever, I think that is the difference.
And then, looking back, when you were telling people, hey, I'm headed to Dallas, did you tell them you were looking for a job, for an opportunity? Did they look at you weird? What was the reaction from your family, people important to you? Or maybe even when I called back and said, hey, I want to hire you out here in the Great Northwest, which is 3 time zones away. What were some of those reactions from people?
People who knew I was going to Dallas, they thought that I was just going to the Final Four game. And in actuality, I didn't even have tickets to the game.
I know you didn't.
I had no intent on going to the game. I was solely going job hunting. And for me, I've learned people who have never taken that kind of risk, they won't understand you taking that kind of risk. So I've learned to not even talk to most people about the risk that I'm going to take, because they'll talk you out of it simply because they've never done anything like that. So for me, I ended up, coming and working out here, moving 3 time zones away, 48 hours away from home. I don't know anybody else who has done that.
Right. And he didn't move into a house, just to be clear. At the Division III level, this wasn't an incentive-laden package. This was in the stadium with some football assistant coaches in the same boat. This was for a stipend. And then maybe when you fix our perimeter play, maybe we'll find you a subbing job in the district. I think that was in the verbal agreement.
What's funny is that I didn't even get a chance to come to Seawood
No, you sure didn't.
Before I accepted.
I don't know if that says anything about you.
I thought that the stadium was a complex. I thought it was like a subdivision or something. I didn't know it literally meant under the football stadium.
It is a gated community.
It is, and I did have the biggest backyard in all of St. Louis. So there was always a place to park.
Oh.
So, but no, it's a great experience. I definitely have enjoyed every step of the way. I'm thankful to be able to say I had a vision, I had a dream, and I was able to go out and reach out and grab it. So I think that outside of basketball, I spent my first job outside of college. So my first job after graduating from University of South Florida was working with a company called Stock Building Supply. And I knew my job was to design roofs on homes and roof trusses. So a truss is what makes up the ceiling pitch of a house.
See, all that you just said is like foreign language to me, but I know that you know it.
Correct.
And somebody out there listening knows it as well. Keep going.
Correct. So I knew absolutely zero about this. And this is where I learned probably the most valuable lesson of my life to date. And the gentleman that was there from Stock Building Supply, he had on a pair of sunglasses. His face was tanned, and he had like a raccoon tan. So you could tell that he had his sunglasses on, and he was out in the sun. And the brand that was on the glasses was a company that makes bait for fishing. So I just walked up to him and I said, fresh water or salt water?
You're a fisherman, that's for sure.
And his face just lit up, and we sparked up a conversation solely about areas to fish in the state of Florida. Had nothing to do with building homes. And then he said, hey, you should apply and come work for our company. That job landed me my first job out of college. I'm very proud of this. I still remember to this date, I went from making about $200 every 2 weeks with intramural sports to making about $580 every Friday, as a 22-year-old,
right.
Single gentleman living in one of the nicest areas on the outskirts of Jacksonville, Florida. But I learned the value of connecting with people.
Regardless.
Just connecting, being able to connect with people and finding out, being able to scan a person when you first meet them and find out what is the connection there. Whether that's standing, whether that's walking into a person's office, whether you're looking at trophies that they may have, pictures, or places that may have gone on vacation that you may have been as well. Anything to spark that conversation. Because that's what's the difference. There are a room full of people with resumes, a room full of people with degrees, but what can you do to connect with a person? Finding that out. And I think that is the skill that I saw that day that I think is very important for progress in life. You can find me on Instagram at Coach_John, JON_ Willis, WILLIS, or on Twitter at Coach J_Willis, WILLIS. On Instagram and on Twitter, you can find motivational speeches. You can see inspirational quotes. You can see brain teasers, stuff to get you thinking. You can see pictures promoting our student athletes, and also you can see when Coach Willis travels. I like to bring the social media world. So yesterday I posted a picture in a hop farm. For a Florida guy, we don't grow hops in there, so it was cool to actually be walking through a hop farm kind of video.
And you'll be stuck with a lot of Laker propaganda and questioning on Coach Willis's feed, but maybe things are looking up. We'll dive into that.
World champion Laker.